Hi, this is Albie. Hope you can hear me on this. And I'm standing here in my hometown where I was born of Newark, and I'm looking to the northwest to what was the old cattle market. And I'm going to pan round. It's mid-October, fairly warm. Autumn's just about started here in Newark. The leaves are starting to turn. As I pan round, the main reason why I'm here, we've got a castle, Newark Castle. Now, I've taken some pictures with this before and posted them elsewhere, but the castle was built originally just after the Norman invasion, the Norman conquest, and it was then rebuilt as a stone castle from 1135 by Bishop Alexander of Lincoln. And what we're seeing there in that corner is the oldest part, or one of the oldest parts. That's known as the Southwest Tower, or King John's Tower, and this is the curtain wall. It's actually not the original one. This was rebuilt in the late 1200s, early 1300s, when the castle really became more of a palace, and it was a palace for the bishops. And that's the Northwest Tower, and the castle was partially renovated around about 20-25 years ago, and this is what we see now. The remains of it, about 20 to 25% of what was originally here remains. So we're going to have another look around, and I'll hopefully try and give you a bit of a guided tour of the place. A bit noisy because I'm right on the road bridge to the River Trent, which formed part of the castle's defence. And there's the Northwest Tower and the gatehouse, which is the finest example of a Norman gatehouse left around in the whole of the UK now. So quite a formidable defensive structure, but this is about all that remains of it. The rest of it was destroyed after our English Civil War. Charles I, who was the king, actually rode out through that gatehouse probably 8 miles up to Southwell and surrendered to the Scots army, and then Oliver Cromwell came and they basically blew the walls apart, and this is all that's left. Okay, so I'm now inside castle grounds. I'm just panning round, and in front of us we have the side view of the gatehouse, and this is one of the earliest parts of the castle again, and it actually formed the private residence of the Bishop of Lincoln and subsequent bishops of Lincoln after Alexander. So I'll just pan round and you can see the inside of the curtain wall. Now, in the time when the castle was complete, there was actually a great hall which ran along the side of that. They did some excavations here, 1993 till 1995, summer excavations, and they found evidence of the hall that was built on the side, and that would have been domestic ranges accommodation. And basically the large windows obviously not very defendable, because the castle had effectively become a palace. And there are no surviving pictures, drawings, etchings, anything of what it looked like. And roughly where these trees are would have been the line of the outside wall coming down. Can't quite see it through the trees there, but it's the Gilstrap Library, which is the castle centre, exhibition centre, and that's Castle Gate. And roughly somewhere there where the entrance is, there was probably another tower. And just panning round back to where I began, and where I'm actually standing here, when they excavated it, is actually a Saxon cemetery. They unearthed quite a few bones, coffins, burials. So even before the castle was here, it was obviously being used by the town as a cemetery. Okay, so I'm near the road but inside the castle grounds, and that's the main entrance, and those windows are there of the apartments of the bishop, and that's the main entrance. Now, they're not 100% sure how it looked, but there was never a drawbridge on that gateway. There's no drawbridge, and what they think, where I'm standing here, there was like an island with another entrance, like a turret, and this area I'm actually standing in was the castle ditch or moat. So this would have been full of water, and it was fed from the Trent, which is obviously just a few yards away. So oldest part of the castle probably, along with the Southwest Tower, and the curtain walls up there you can see, and the Northwest Tower. And just down there, those shafts are the garderobe shafts, those openings right in the middle of the picture. They're the toilet shafts, so all the waste, human waste, would come down those shafts and drop into the ditch. So in the summer, hot weather, it would have been Quite a stench around here, I would have thought. Okay, now inside the gatehouse itself, and you can see the rough way that the thing was built. So basically there would have been probably a stone skin, and then they would often in these castles just put mortar and stone in the middle, like an inner wall effectively. And what I'm looking at up there is what they think was probably the bishop's chapel, and that went all the way up to the roof. There were no other rooms, it was just one single room. Now certain times of the year you can actually get up there and have a look, but not on this very humid and actually quite warm October day today. So this was the main entrance into the castle and the bishop's private apartments above, and if I just move to this one here, now there were two rooms, one above the other up there, and it is now widely believed that in one of those rooms up there, or possibly even in the chapel, on October the 18th, 1216, that King John, Prince John of the Robin Hood legends, he actually more than likely died up there somewhere, one of those rooms. So a little bit of history. They originally thought he might have died in the southwest tower, but it's more likely, because these were actually quite plush apartments, that he was brought here and tended by the Abbot of Croxton. Up there somewhere is where John left this mortal coil, and that's looking out towards the Trent and that's the main road, the old London to York and Edinburgh road, the Great North Road. That's the old road there. Obviously a modern road a mile or so to the east of us. It takes traffic northwards today. Inside the gatehouse, and again there was actually a small turret in this corner. They found evidence during the excavations, and you can see the passageways going through the walls of the castle, and much later brick there. They wouldn't have used brick in the 1100s and 1200s when a lot of the work was done, but they were private chambers going up there. And again, on certain days of the year you can actually get up there and have a look, but it's only on certain days, normally on public holidays, things like that. And again, can't really see very well because it's quite dark. And there's the northwest tower, and one of the windows, which this would have been the bishop's private chambers, and where I'm standing now is actually where the hall would have been, used to entertain, used for meetings, you know, feasts, things like that. As I come up to the edge here, we can see down there is what they call the Trent navigation. The actual main part of the River Trent's through the trees way over there, and that's looking towards south and the northwest, and the Great North Road north. So you had a good look out here. You could see the castle was never ever taken by force. It surrendered in the Civil War. It was never taken. So quite a strong defensive place.